Hello, this is your Good Neighbors Network headlines for August 15th through August 21st, 2026, brought to you by World Grace Project. This week, the United States carried out its first large deportation flight to Haiti since Haitian Temporary Protected Status ended. Immigration organizations challenged a new asylum rule in federal court, and families with connections to the Democratic Republic of the Congo face significant travel restrictions because of Ebola. Let's begin with immigration. More than 160 Haitians were deported from the United States to Haiti this week in the first large deportation flight since Haitian Temporary Protected Status ended. The Associated Press reports that the flight landed in Cap Haitien rather than Port-au-Prince because commercial flights to the capital remain restricted because of gang violence and security concerns. Haiti continues to face widespread displacement and instability, with armed groups controlling much of Port-au-Prince. Another major immigration development involves people with affirmative asylum applications. On August 19th, several immigration legal service organizations filed a federal lawsuit challenging a new Department of Homeland Security rule that took effect July 28th. The rule allows USCIS to refer certain affirmative asylum applications directly to immigration court without first conducting an asylum interview. This does not mean every affirmative asylum applicant will lose an interview. It gives USCIS authority to bypass the interview in certain cases and place the applicant into immigration court proceedings instead. The lawsuit argues that the change violates protections for asylum seekers. The federal government will have an opportunity to respond to those claims in court. USCIS is also preparing for changes to the public charge process beginning September 18th. Public charge rules are used in some green card cases to evaluate an applicant's overall financial circumstances and whether the person may become primarily dependent on certain government assistance. The revised process gives USCIS broader discretion to consider factors such as household size, income, assets, debts, education, and skills. Benefits received by U.S. citizen children or other family members are generally not treated as benefits received by the applicant. The rule does not apply to everyone. Some immigration categories, including many humanitarian categories, are exempt from public charge review. There is also a smaller form change coming in September. USCIS will release new editions of Form Y-765, the application for employment authorization, and Form Y-539 on September 15th. For people filing by paper, USCIS says older form editions submitted on or after that date will be rejected. Many people file Form Y-765 online, where USCIS updates the application in the online system. The United States is also expanding its use of third countries for deportations. This week, the first group of people deported from the United States arrived in Liberia under an agreement allowing the West African nation to receive as many as 1,200 people who are not Liberian. The Associated Press reports that the agreement may include people originally from Africa, North and South America, and the Caribbean. Liberia says people arriving under the agreement may seek asylum there or leave for another country if they are able to do so. The arrangement is part of a broader U.S. policy of sending some people to countries other than their country of citizenship. Now to an important travel issue for families with connections to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. CDC is responding to an Ebola outbreak in parts of the DRC, and people who have recently been in the country may face significant restrictions returning to the United States. CDC says travelers, including Americans, who have been in the DRC within 21 days of a planned commercial flight should expect restrictions. U.S. citizens and nationals are being advised to remain outside the DRC for 21 days before returning to the United States. The outbreak is also affecting movement inside eastern Congo, where conflict and divided control of territory are complicating the public health response. For families considering travel between the United States and the DRC, the important point is that current restrictions may make returning to the United States immediately after visiting the DRC impossible. Now to a brief public health update here in Iowa. Federal health officials are tracking 2 foodborne illness outbreaks that include cases in Iowa. A large cyclospora outbreak has been linked to previously recalled iceberg lettuce, while a separate outbreak has been linked to alfalfa sprouts sold under the Calco and Everything Sprouts brands. Modern food safety systems grew in part from conditions more than a century ago, when Americans faced widespread contamination of milk, meat, and other foods with little federal oversight. Public pressure during the Progressive era eventually helped create stronger national food and drug protections. Current recall and outbreak information is available through the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Turning briefly to the wars overseas, the 60-day deadline connected to the June agreement between the United States and Iran expired August 17th without producing a permanent agreement. The Strait of Hormuz remains at the center of the dispute, and shipping through one of the world's most important routes for oil and natural gas remains disrupted. Regional mediators continue efforts to negotiate, but the conflict has not ended. And in Ukraine, Russian missile and drone attacks intensified again this week, killing civilians and damaging homes and other buildings as the war continues. That is your Good Neighbors Network headlines for August 15th through August 21st, 2026. Good Neighbors Network is a public information service of World Grace Project. We share news and community information to help neighbors stay informed and connected.